I'm a seven-figure publisher. Matter of fact, I just recently discovered this by checking out this software. But today I want to share with you top 10 lessons from earning over $1 million in the publishing industry, in the book publishing industry. Before I get started, let me show you if you're interested in an online course or training slash membership site from someone who's earned seven figures in publishing using my step-by-step system from based on real results, not just theory, go check out my online course at publishersystem.com. As you can see right here, I earned over $1 million in the publishing world. Okay. And year after year, I've generated six figures in sales with my publishing business. So that you're going to learn from someone who has longevity in this game and also teach you something that works for the long run. Okay. So go check out my online course at publishersystem.com to learn more about this step-by-step system. If you're interested in coaching or done for you service or done with you service type of program, go check out my website to help you with that, such as formatting your book, designing your book, even AI writing for you, and so forth. Okay, even setting Amazon ads or just doing a simple coaching call with me. Go check it out at ebookborn.com. And here's my publisher champ software that I just recently got. My publisher account actually started on 11. It's not January, actually. This is kind of like the European date system, I believe. November 1st, 2011. As you can see, I only had, well, actually started out pretty big, I guess, $800 the first month because there was no competition at the time. But as you can see, it started dying down. And eventually, I've been able to hit 20K for 5 years in a row during December. The last December, I hit 26K. This is not all net royalty because this publisher champ for Amazon ad stats takes into account only the past 60 days. Okay. Regardless, the royalty that I received, overall paid to me was over $1 million. In KDP alone, it was $817,000. And this also publisher champ also takes into account other platforms like Ingram Spark, Findaway Voices. Um, what else? Those are the top ones. And the ACX. Those are so on top of 800,000, I made another 200,000 ish for the other platforms. Now there's one platform that's not accounted here where I made another 100 grand. So technically it's $1.1 million, and that's Smashwords. So starting in 2010, 11, like as you can see, quarterly I got paid 6,000, 7,000, 5,000, 4,000 for one particular year. The next year, 2013, similar numbers, 6,000, 6,000, 4,000. This is the type of numbers I got. So I've been doing this for a long time. So for almost 14 years, you know, I counted it all. The last time I counted, it's over $100,000. Okay. And a little bit more, slightly a little bit more. So it's technically $1.1 million and a little bit more than that for my total royalties. Just to let you know, you're learning from someone who has real life results and teaching you from real life results. Why is that important? Because a lot of times you can learn from people who may just teach you from theory. The good thing is people may have these knowledge about this and that, but what's great about learning from people with real life results, you cut to the clutter. You know what works, what doesn't work. Okay. So you can focus on the 80-20 rule, the hinge that moves the door, the 20% that moves makes 80% of the impact. So based on my real life experience, I want to share with you my top 10 lessons I've learned over the years to teach you, whether you're an author, publisher, or low content, no content creator, all genres, these lessons can apply. So let's get started. Okay. Number one, top 10 plus lessons from earning over $1 million in publishing. And then again, if you're interested, go check out my online course training membership site at publishersystem.com and done for you service coaching at ebookborn.com. Okay. Number one is to have a vision. Okay. Have a vision for your publishing business, meaning don't like if you have something in your heart that you want to create in the book publishing world, maybe it's to go into a certain industry, certain category, certain niche, and that's something deep in your heart, consider going into it. Maybe there's type of books that haven't been out there and you haven't seen on YouTube or other gurus teaching it. That doesn't mean your vision is not important. Okay. At the end of the day, you got to trust your own self, your own vision. For example, the seven figure publishing business that I created is a method that almost no gurus taught. Most gurus teach you to focus on one niche and go deep. Instead, what I did was look at the big publishing companies out there, and no individual gurus were teaching this method. The way I did it was to go wide. Instead of go deep, I had a vision to go wide, publish all topics A to Z. And even though all the gurus and the teachers, were saying, don't do that, I went with that. And guess what? I was able to build a seven-figure publishing brand that way. So no matter what the gurus tell you, if you have a vision, a dream inside of your heart, believe in it. Okay. There's a reason. We're all different. We all have a different fingerprint. So believe in yourself, have a vision of your own. It's that important. Sometimes you can have a big vision and you don't need all the gizmo and the tactics sometimes. As long as you have a big vision and you follow through and focus on the fundamentals, you could build a successful publishing business. So what type of publishing brand do you want to build? What type of books do you want to publish? Success without fulfillment is failure, Tony Robbins says. So build a business that is fulfilling for the long run. You could build. Before publishing, I've had experiences with other type of businesses. I did multiple six figures together in the online network marketing space for a couple of years together, right? Before that, I actually made another $1 million with ClickBank prior to this, okay? With digital marketing, digital products, and even software many years ago. But unfortunately, those kind of died down, and I had to make a pivot and really landed myself in the publishing world. But again, I've had experiences where I built a online business where I wasn't fulfilled in, for example, right? That's why I really believe at the end of the day, it's not just about making money, even in the publishing world. Find a way to build a publishing business that makes money and also fulfills you at the end of the day. Okay. So have a vision of your own, create a vision and follow through. Okay. The next lesson of the day is quality. Looking back, when I first got started with publishing around 2010, 2011 in the KDP space, okay, I've actually started online marketing since 2007 and seriously full time since 2008, ClickBank days, okay? But I'm just talking about KDP right now, 2011-ish. When I first got started, right, I would just put up books that were like 5,000 words in the beginning, right? And it didn't matter. I made almost $5,000 within the first year. As you can see right here, the first year was it hit almost $4,000, right? So fast because quality didn't really matter at the time. But eventually, as you can see, my stats start to die down little by little. It's because competition came in and cream rises to the top and quality does matter. So if I were to, and I was younger back in the days, I was younger. So when you're young at the time, you don't care about quality. You tend to care about just the short term instead of the long run. You just want to make money now, right? Instead of thinking about the long run, doing things that are fundamental and boring. It might seem boring, but last for the long run. So if I were to look at my younger self, hey, what do you got to focus on? Other than having a vision, is to focus on quality. Do the best you can to create the best product book you can right now. Okay, so it can last for the long run because high quality books will sell itself. You'll get better reviews and the reviews will sell itself. So help your assets, your books, continue to make money over and over again. If the books turn out to be bad quality, it may sell well in the beginning, but eventually it'll get low reviews and then it will die out. So it's really important to focus on quality. That's the next big lesson overall. Okay. The next lesson I would say is quantity. Just like quality is important, the next factor is I would say quantity is important as well. Okay. Some people think it's just quality. Some people think it's quantity, but I say both. The more books you create, the more money you make. Okay. The more money you make, the more money you make at the end of the day. Okay. Quality is important, but quantity is just as important. So keep on publishing, rinse and repeat. Okay. Though from my real life experience, you can have the best book in the world. It can have quality too. But what I've noticed is that over the years, sometimes competition arises. Maybe just more and more publishers come into the space. So the books that sold well for maybe 1 or 2 or 3 years or whatnot, even if they get 5-star reviews, even if they don't have the most amount of reviews and you think it can have more potential to sell, it may die out, unfortunately. So that's the reality of the game. So you got to create and rinse and repeat. You got to keep on publishing. You can't just be lackadaisical and just relax. You have to keep on keeping on in this business, okay? And keep on growing your business by putting out more books. And as you grow over time, you'll find a better rhythm, a better structure, a better formula, a better team to really create better books and at a higher scale, right? So focus on quality and quality at the same time. The next lesson, the fourth lesson, is maximize all formats. And I know this sounds basics to some people, advanced maybe, but these fundamentals matter at the end of the day. Just like John Wooden, one of the best NCAA college basketball coaches of all time, he focused on fundamentals. There was a story about John Wooden having a practice, I heard, and he would teach one of the first days how to tie shoelaces to the players. And the players were like, why are we wasting our time? Because he wanted to teach every fundamental matters, from tying a shoe to passing the ball to shooting the hoops and everything. So that's why I'm here to teach you the fundamentals. But the good thing about fundamentals, this will be for the lifetime, for the long run. Okay, this is not one of those gizmo techniques that might be hot this year and not next year, right? So I want to give you fundamental top 10 lessons. So one of the top 10 lessons is maximize all formats. Maximize each book into multiple assets, okay, into all formats to maximize your asset to the fullest. Turn each book into, for example, an ebook, a paperback book, a hardback book, and an audiobook. And if you want to go even further, you can turn that into a video course, or maybe you can turn it into a higher ticket coaching program, or some kind of service done for you service, so you can maximize your product into multiple formats. Okay, there's some people out there I've seen only want to sell an ebook or only want to sell paperback, and I'm like, wow, you have so much potential to maximize even more. Okay, you have so much potential. If it's selling well as an ebook, it's gonna sell well as a paperback for sure. Those are the two biggest formats. Okay. So, and might as well create a hardback version as well. Even if the hardback doesn't sell well, it could be a higher price point to anchor the price so people will buy the paperback even more, right? So it's important to have maximal formats. And on top of that, an audiobook for sure. Because nowadays, a lot of people are learning, they want to listen on Spotify or Audible. They like to read audiobooks. So give them all options. Not everyone wants to read just an ebook. Some people like reading paperbacks. Some people prefer audiobooks. So give all options to everyone based on their preference. Number 5, maximize all platforms. Okay, maximize all platforms, meaning go wide. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. So go wide by publishing your books to all the major platforms. As of right now, it's number 1 is Amazon. Then in no particular order is Barnes and Noble, Kobo, Google Playbooks, Apple, and then another big one for paperback and hardback, expanded distribution. And in order to do that, you got to uncheck expanded distribution on Amazon is Ingram Spark. Also, the company I believe is called Lightning Source, but Ingram Spark is a big one for me, okay, outside of Amazon. Another big one outside of Amazon is related to Amazon, but it's the audiobook department, as you can say, is ACX. That's an audiobook department for Amazon where you can find narrators and hire them to produce and narrate your book into an audiobook. So it reaches out to sources like Amazon for audiobooks, as well as Audible and Apple iTunes. Now, I choose the non-exclusive option on ACX because my belief is to not put all your eggs in one basket. Because worst case scenario, if something happens to this one of your accounts, if you put all your eggs in one basket, everything's gone. So you want to go wide. That's what I really recommend at the end of the day. Even though majority of your sales will come from one main platform, I still recommend to go wide. Even with ACX, go wide, choosing the non-exclusive option. You'll have less royalty, but guess what? There's another platform called Findaway Voices. And from my experience, when I publish the Findaway Voices, just make sure to uncheck Audible, iTunes, and Apple and Amazon, and submit to the 35 plus Audible audio stores like Spotify and so forth, and Google, and that makes as much money as ACX. So that's the way to do it. Okay. Lastly, another popular one, and I'm sure there's other platforms out there that I haven't mentioned, but I'm just sharing with you some good ones. And the last one is called Shopify. And this is from me studying other authors in the author space, particularly people who go into fiction, and some of them have done seven figures as well. We're talking six figures in a month, okay? And they have done it with Shopify. How do they do it? Because they use a Shopify to create their own website. And the powerful benefit of having your own website going direct, as they say in this industry, is you get to build your own email list. You get to sell directly to the reader. You get to have the data. Now you can sell, you can have, once you have your email list, for example, you can contact them by autoresponders like Aweber and whatnot, and contact them, develop a relationship with your list, and sell them over time more and more books. Okay, and it's powerful. So how do people use Shopify? They use platforms, apps like called Lulu, or they use another popular one is called Book Vault. So you have a Shopify store, but in conjunction with Shopify, you use a Shopify app called Lulu or Book Vault. And I'm sure there's other options out there, but those are the two popular ones. And in conjunction with the Shopify site, a lot of people use Facebook ads to drive traffic to the Shopify site. Okay, so maximize your book into not only multiple formats, like I said earlier, but multiple platforms by going wide. Sixth lesson is to do advertising, such as Amazon ads, learn Amazon ads, Facebook ads, TikTok, etc. Those seem to be the top three advertising strategies from authors and publishers across the space, across this industry. So that's why I mentioned it right there. But there's other platforms out there that are popular I've heard, BookBub, Pinterest, and so forth. So do your best to continue to learn and do both organic content, such as TikTok content, as well as paid content, paid advertising, doing Amazon ads. I would say, first and foremost, if you publish your book on Amazon, number one, do Amazon ads. Number two, if you want to do organic, you don't want to do any paid ads, consider studying how to do TikTok, because a lot of authors and publishers have been very successful just posting content on TikTok. It's called #BookTok. And you'll see tons of examples I've seen over the years going to book seminars and many, many seminars. A lot of authors have done that. So it's well worth the learning, okay? Do Amazon ads, sponsored product ads in general do well for Amazon ads, both auto and manual. And there's more things to this topic. I can go further on in a separate video, but those are the main type of ads that do well, sponsored product ads. Do Facebook ads. Study how to do Facebook ads. And even if you're not perfect, I'm not perfect with Facebook ads right now, but I'm still testing it out, behind the scenes, with the help of my team behind the scenes. I'm doing Facebook ads for simple Amazon paperbacks, okay? So the sixth lesson is advertising. The seventh lesson is build a team, outsource, delegate, like I mentioned just earlier. Build a team. At the end of the day, publishing business is a business. So you don't want to do everything all by yourself. You want to hire a virtual assistant. So where do you find a virtual assistant? You can go on websites like Upwork. Maybe you can try Fiverr and whatnot. But personally, I prefer Upwork. I've used Upwork before it was called Upwork. It used to be called Odesk. And I've hired, I believe, over 1,000 people on Upwork, okay, over the years. If I look at my stats, last time I checked, just tons of hires. So yeah, go on Upwork, post up a small little job, hire multiple people for the same job. Whoever does the best job, hire that person for the long run. That's kind of a philosophy I've had for over the years, and I believe you can do it. Okay. And whoever does the best job, they say how you do anything is how you do everything. So whoever does the best job on a small task, most likely will do the best job for another task as well. And over time, you'll start to build your team, whether it's design, just virtual assistants. And how do you train them? Get a tool, a website called StreamYard, like I'm using right now. You don't even have to pay it, okay? I'm not even paying you for right now. Sometimes I pay, sometimes I don't. But basically, you record your screen doing the work one time and explaining it step by step, and then send over that video, plus maybe a step-by-step text to your virtual assistant, and they'll get it done for you. How do you give access to your virtual assistants? For example, there's a website called LastPass, and I'm sure there's other sites like that out there. Basically, Instead of giving your own login information to your virtual assistant who you may not work with maybe next year or whatnot, instead of having to change your login info all the time after you let someone go, just give them access to the site via LastPass. They'll have a LastPass account, you'll have a LastPass account, and you'll give them access to your sites through the LastPass dashboard. And if you don't work with them again, you can just remove it and you don't have to change your login info. So build a team, outsource, and delegate. Focus on your strengths, whatever you're best at. If your strengths is creating the book, then focus on creating the book and delegate the rest. If your focus is maybe on design, then focus on design. It's okay. Not everyone has the same strengths and weaknesses. Everyone's different, okay? But whatever your focus is, focus on that. There's authors out there who've done seven figures. They're actual authors. They actually type. So they're going to focus on writing. Okay. Maybe for someone like me as a publisher, I don't want to focus on writing. I'll hire the writer. Or now I use AI now. Okay. So, but I do create the books as of right now. But focus on whatever your strength is and delegate the rest. The eighth tip is to learn and adapt. This publishing industry is always evolving and changing. When I first got started, it was easy. You could put up some books out there and would instantly sell, but it's not like that anymore. Okay. And then it shifted to more competition, people hiring freelancers. I hired everyday experts on Upwork and so forth. That was a game as far as publishing goes in the nonfiction world. That's where I'm at. Now it has evolved again to AI. Now people are coming in with, people new in the space are using AI. So they have it a lot easier than I had back in the days, I feel like, because back then I had to, hire writers and give them instructions and wait up to 3 months on average for me to get the books back. If not, give them extension to come back. Now I can sometimes create content as fast as a week, sometimes in a day if I really focus, a whole book in first draft format. So the times have changed. And my point is this: don't get stuck to the old ways. If I got stuck to the old ways of doing things the old ways, hiring freelancers, I wouldn't be able to adapt. For example, a couple years ago or last year, in the beginning of the first half of the last year, my sales were starting to tank a little bit compared to the previous years, when I was getting some success and results. And I think it was during the time when everyone started to use AI. That's why last year, in the middle of the year, I said, you know what? I didn't want to do AI and I was anti AI. But that's when I say, you know what? I'm going to consider using AI. And on top of that, a couple of years ago, I went to a book seminar 2 or 3 years ago, and I met an author in the fiction space who did 700 plus books, he told me. And he was using AI at the time. And he kept on telling me AI is the future, everything, basically. And having all these conversations and come on top of that, seeing my sales kind of die down, I had to adapt, okay? Or else my business was going to continue to go down. So in the middle of last year, I adapted to AI. And guess what? I ended up having I ended up turning my business around. I started off the worst 6 months, but ended up having the best December I've ever had out of all the past 5 years, thanks to being able to use AI to publish 50, 60 plus books, all made by AI. So now I've adapted to this change. Just like that, you need to adapt when changes occur. Okay, you cannot use old tools. It's like the calculator invention came about. Are you not going to use it? If you're not going to use it, other people are taking the test are using calculator. You're going to lose. The computer came now. Are you going to say, "Oh, I don't want to use a computer. I want to use a typewriter"? No, people who use a computer are going to win. AI has came. Are you going to be like, "I don't want to use AI"? No, you got to use it. There were people back in the days, many years ago, when the internet came. I know the younger generation may not know. Some people are like, "I don't want email. I don't want to use the internet." Guess what? You have you go extinct that way. Now every business has email. Every internet business has internet presence, or else you're going to die. Okay, so learn and adapt, or you're not going to survive. Okay. So every several years, new technologies come about and noticed. So you need to adapt to continue growing in this industry. Okay. Number 9, take action. This is a very core, essential, maybe basic lesson, but it's that important. Don't be a perfectionist. Okay. I've been in various different industries over the years, and there's one thing in common. It's the people who take action that succeed. They're not necessarily seeming to be the smartest people. Okay, sometimes you underestimate the people who get the biggest results. People I've known in the network marketing world, right? Maybe they weren't the best at that, but come to find out, I've seen some people make huge results after finding, they found their own way and lane, not necessarily in the network marketing world, but they found their own path. And it wasn't necessarily they were the more smartest person per se, but it was because they took massive action and they kept on learning. Just like that in the publishing world, there's people I've talked to. I'll be honest, they can do things I can't do. I met people in the fiction world. They talk about writing 60,000 word books and whatnot. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. How do you do that? Right? But they still haven't published a book, right? So don't be a perfectionist. Progress over perfectionist. So if it's good enough, publish it, move forward, because you can even revise things later in this new world of publishing. You can publish on Amazon. You can change the design. You can change the interior. Don't be so caught up in trying to make perfect before you click on the launch and publish button. Okay. A lot of times, I think perfectionism is an excuse to not publish. Okay. It's just because it's just people being afraid. They're asking too many questions. What should I do with this or that? Is because they're afraid to launch. Don't be afraid. Don't try to make everything perfect. And sometimes perfectionism, like I said, is an excuse for not taking action. There's a time to learn and there's a time to do. So at the end of the day, doing will help you learn. Also, doing will help you learn more and get results. So if people say, oh, I want to learn before I do, right? Well, guess what? You know how to learn fast? To do. You'll learn way more by doing. Okay, how do you learn to ride a bicycle? You read a book all the time? No, you don't. You listen to an audio only? You watch a video? That's helpful to an extent. But the fastest way to learn how to ride a bicycle is to actually go on it, and you won't fall. You're going to fall, but you're going to learn 10 times faster that way. Same with publishing. Okay, and same with any industry. Take action. That's even more important than researching everything that you need to know. Even if you're not perfect with the title, even if you're not perfect with the cover, even if you're not perfect with the description, even if you're not perfect with the manuscript, just publish. Matter of fact, if you're so caught up and attached to a book, I would say this. Forget about your dream book right now. Matter of fact, for your first book is going to be most likely your worst book. So if you have this dream of publishing this one book or many books for your business, why not consider this? Do a practice book first. Do a practice book and publish it first so you'll learn the process of publishing from start to finish. Once you learn that, your dream book that matters to you, okay, that you're emotionally attached to, then you can do it better. And it's because a lot of times they have this one book in mind. A lot of times authors and publishers, they're so attached to it. They want to make everything perfect, okay, that they don't launch. Same with me to this day. When I was working on a book about self-publishing, I recently launched with my brand. I was so attached to it, and I found myself taking way longer. So consider creating a practice book to publish first and do it first. If you want to unpublish the Kindle paperback, hardback, you can do that too. But at least you learned the whole process of publishing. The 10th lesson is long-term. Think long-term and focus and prioritize on the fundamentals. Okay. Over the years, of publishing, there's always going to be new gizmo tactics coming up and going. Okay. What I've learned is that some people, especially the newbies, they're attracted to these shiny objects. Oh, this technique, this advertising method, that's going to take my business to this level or whatnot. No, don't do that. Focus on the long-term fundamentals. New tactics and techniques come and go, but it's the fundamentals that keep you and help you growing in the publishing industry for the long run. So don't be distracted by so many shiny objects, okay? Focus on the long-term fundamentals, such as doing niche research, finding the right niche, creating excellent books, okay? The cover, the book title, the manuscript, everything has to do with it. Advertising correctly on the core spaces like Amazon ads, maybe doing Facebook ads and TikTok. Then simply rinse and repeat. Building a team slowly but surely with one virtual assistant and rinse and repeat. That's the core fundamentals. Doing niche research, creating great books, advertising, building a team, and rinsing and repeating. All these other tools that may be fancy and shiny and maybe somewhat questionable, some tactics or websites, don't focus too much on them. Instead, focus on the fundamentals and keep on keeping on. And that's how you're going to build a publishing business, okay? A successful publishing business that doesn't just last for the short run, but lasts for the long run. Because there might be some questionable tactics out there taught by people who focus on just a short run. Maybe it may not be aligned to the platforms like Amazon, maybe against those type of tactics. But if you do those, it won't help you have a solid long-term publishing business for the long run. And at the end of the day, don't you want to do this for the long run, right? So think long run always over short run tactics, okay? Long run fundamentals. Lastly, a bonus tip of the day is I would say be you all the way, okay? This kind of lesson is not really taught all the time, but let me share with you what I mean by this. Everyone here who watches this, including you and me and all the authors and publishers out there, you have unique talents, strengths, and passions. Just because someone else who's a teacher or guru in the space succeeded in one way doesn't mean that's the only way. Doesn't mean you should follow their path exactly to the T. It helps to a certain extent, but eventually you're going to have what your own. You're going to have your own dreams, your own vision, the things that's going to fulfill you. So don't forget to listen to your own vision, your heart, and your dreams at the same time, and create your own publishing vision and brand. Okay, your vision is uniquely yours, so be willing to create and follow your own vision in the publishing industry to provide your own unique value to the world and to the marketplace. Be you all the way. Some may tell you to focus on creating a book, a certain way, right? Maybe extreme high quality, and that's great. And I'm sure that works. But you know what? Maybe you know how to create books that are quick, short, to the point, and saves people time. That's another way to give value to the marketplace. Not every restaurant is a fine dining restaurant. Matter of fact, there's fine dining restaurants that go out of business. I live in LA, Southern California area. There's some taco trucks that do extremely well. They've been on Time Magazine. They've done really well, and they've been successful because they knew who they were. Okay, know thyself, as they say, right? Aristotle or whoever, Socrates said it. Know thyself. Know your strengths. Know who you are, and build your publishing business based on who you are, your dreams, your strength. Just because someone else built it a certain way, you try to duplicate it, you might not get the same results. Matter of fact, you might get poor or fail in the results because you're not them. They are them. Okay. So what I've noticed is that whenever gurus or whoever teaches you this is the only way, I believe there's multiple roads to the mountaintop in publishing as well. One way of doing a book or a certain way or doing advertising a certain way is not the only way. I've tested out all kinds of ads on Amazon. I've tried this, I've tried that. I try ways that are not really taught, okay, for my own Amazon ads, but I've got a result, 7 figures with it. So, and I've done books my own way. So I would say at the end of the day, know yourself and be willing to be yourself and build your publishing brand your way, your style, whatever your vision, your dream is, because that's your own dream blueprint. And I believe God gives us a vision. Okay, whether you believe or not, it's in our heart. So follow that blueprint and go for it. Okay, and I believe the world is big and abundant. So if you go that way, whatever follow your heart, a lot of times it's going to work out. Now that doesn't mean don't follow people who have had results. Yes, learn from them. But like Bruce Lee says in the art of Jeet Kune Do, you want to create your own style. Take what works for you, get rid of what doesn't work for you. Some people's methods may work for them, but what doesn't work for them may work for you. So at the end of the day, know yourself and create your own style and publish all the way. Okay. So those are the top 10 lessons for my lessons from earning over $1 million, 7 figures in publishing. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to learn more, again, go check out my website at publishersystem.com to check out my training step by step, and check out my done with you service and coaching at ebookborn.com. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon. Take care. Bye for now. Cheers.